Good evening, everybody. Today is Tuesday, December 3rd. Time is now 6 p.m. and the city of Williston City Council has come to order. All right, roll call, please, Mr. Wright.
Mayor Goodman is absent. Council President Cox,
Here.
Vice President Hines,
Here.
Councilmember Jones,
Here.
Councilmember Martin,
Here.
Councilmember Riccio, she's going to be late. City Manager Terry Brevard,
Here.
Attorney Kirsten Ballou, City Clerk Latricia Wright, I am here, and all other staff. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Opening prayer and pledge of allegiance. Councilmember Jones. Press and hold it.
If you will, please bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, be with us tonight as we go about the business of our city. Be with us as we make sound decisions and listen to everyone and what everyone has to say. Thank you for all the things, all our blessings through Thanksgiving and the Christmas to come. Keep all our workers safe. Keep us safe on the road. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
All right. Item 1, additions, deletions, changes, and approval of the agenda. This time, council can make a motion.
I move approval of the agenda.
Sorry.
It's like we have a change.
Sorry. Yes, we do. I would like to make a correction on your agenda from the November 19th meeting. I misspoke when it was asked on where the city manager's job was posted. It is on, the correct is on Indeed, Florida Government Jobs, and Florida League of Cities, not FMIT. So I misspoke and said FMIT instead of Florida League of Cities. So the minutes from that agenda reflect FMIT, not Florida League of Cities.
And Council President, while she's stating that, also on the November the 6th meeting minutes for Chief Lamar Stiegel, it said motion to approve the fire assessments. It should say study.
And I can't pull mine up, sorry. But some places said it, motion was made, but time second by the time.
Okay, I'll check into that.
Thank you. I'll find it.
Okay. Shall I continue?
I move
Motion.
approval of the agenda with those changes under the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
All right. Then any discussion about it anymore? All right. We're going to move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Okay. Ayes have it. Item 2, Mayor Student of the Month. We have a special guest. Since Mr. Mayor could not be here, Police Chief Rolls.
All right, I'm gonna do the best I can with this. I'm not the mayor, but I think I can probably do a little bit better than he does. Okay, so we'll start. Today is we're gonna do the student of the month. The mayor student of the month is Marshall here. I see Marshall. No, Marshall. Whitman. We'll skip that one and we'll go to Mr. Frazier Warren. Come on up, my friend. Miss Frazier, my name is Mike Rose. I'm Chief of Police. Of course, I know your name now. Mr. Frazier, right? All right, okay. So, for the Mayor Student of the Month, I don't know if you know this person or not. You know that lady right there? You know her? Miss Glitt put you in for Student of the Month. And she made these comments about you. She said, Warren has demonstrated that he has strong moral character of honesty by his actions and words. He has shown that he follows the golden rule of honesty, which is, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. He does an outstanding job of upholding the value and remaining true to himself. His commitment to honesty is part of what makes him a wonderful student to have in class. All right. That is absolutely phenomenal. So with that, I will present you with the Mayor Outstanding Student Award. It says, presented by Charles Goodman, Mayor, City of Williston. That is not me. This is certified that Warren Frazier Jr. is awarded this certificate of academic excellence, leadership, citizenship, and attendance at Williston Elementary School, given the 3rd day of December 2024. And you want me to sign it or you want the Mayor to sign it? Okay. You want me to sign it? I'll sign it.
There you go.
I gotta do this in front of you like you're in the NFL draft. Here we go. Warren, congratulations. Outstanding for a teacher to say such great, powerful words about a young man, about honesty, being true and faithful. Means a lot. You should be very proud of that. Now I'm going to give you something else, and this is from a local restaurant here in town. You like Japanese food? You like McDonald's? I'll trade you. I'll buy you a Happy Meal for this. Huh?
You can find something
man,
there
you
he likes.
drive a hard bargain. This is from Shogun's, a local restaurant here in Williston. And they're saying, Mayor Charles Goodman, we would like to congratulate the Student of the Month for their outstanding achievement with this certificate. Good for one kid's meal and ice cream. What's that? You don't know?
Next to Domino's.
Well, you don't want it. I'll take it. There you go, buddy. Good job. Excellent. Thank you. Well, come on back up here. We got to take a picture, bro. It's me and you. Come on. Did I do all right on that one? I ain't done yet. Don't give me too much props. All right, is Nicholas here? No Nicholas either? Y'all are making this way too easy for me. Okay, well, we're going to move on. Mr. President, I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You might as well stay right there. You're next.
Wait a minute. I want to say one more thing before I step away and go to the next thing. You know, it is so nice to see teachers recognizing students for great things. Because in today's world, it's so easy for us to overlook the good things, but we always focus on the bad things, on the negative things. So when you see teachers, you know, doing things like this, recognizing kids, we should celebrate them. But not only should we celebrate the teachers for doing it, because we know that there's a parent somewhere that has a part in that kid, in the upbringing of that kid. A parent, a grandma, aunt, uncle, cousin, somebody. And we should celebrate people for bringing young men up in this world, because this world is totally different than any other world I've ever been in, and this is the only one I've been in, so that ain't too much to compare it to. But anyway, it is great to see us doing things like this for our youth, because that is so important, so vital for their future and their upbringing. So, to the moms, to the dads, the grandparents, the uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, whatever, we salute you for taking part in being interested in the development of these young men and women. So give yourself a hand.
All right.
Now, sir.
All right. Item 3. Introduction of new police officer Samuel Watts by Police Chief Mike Rose.
Mr. Watts, would you please come forward, please? You know, it's always, you know, there's two things about things I like about my job. One of them is I love getting new employees and bringing them into our community to represent us well. But I hate losing employees as well, especially when they're good, dedicated, hardworking men and women that are here in our community. Mr. Watts is here because we lost a good employee for some other reasons. That's nothing bad. So Mr. Watts is stepping in, and it's an honor for me to have a chance to meet this young man, sit down, talk with him, get to know him and understand him, and know that he's somebody that we're bringing into our community and into our agency who's going to reflect well on all of us. And that's what's important to me, because these guys and girls, they represent me. They represent this city. So it's vital to me that when we get a candidate, we vet them thoroughly and make sure that they're a good fit for our community. Everybody's not a good fit for Williston. Everybody's not a good fit for Ocala or Marion County. So we take great pride and we take our time in identifying good young men and women to bring into our law enforcement agency. Hence, this is why he's here today. So let me introduce you to our newest member of the Williston Police Department and to the city of Williston. Officer Watts worked for the Ocala Police Department for 2 years and the Department of Corrections for 4 years. Officer Watts focused mainly on traffic and DUI reports while working as a sworn officer with the Ocala Police Department. Officer Watts is a husband. Megan, welcome to the family. He has 2 children, Jeremiah. Where's Jeremiah? There he is. And Joseph Watts. I see you, buddy. Officer Watts and his family recently moved back to the Levy County area. Officer Watts is going to be a great asset to the Williston Police Department due to his previous law enforcement experience and his correctional experience. Now, let me tell you a little bit about correctional experiences that is so vital, as well as the parole part of it. In a correctional facility, and the city manager can vouch for this, you have to learn how to communicate effectively. Okay, because when you work in a correction facility, honestly, they can take over anytime they want. All right?
Cross City.
Yes, Cross City. So, him having and bringing his correction experience here to this agency shows me that, one, he knows how to effectively communicate with people, and he understands the importance of respect for everybody. You know, and if he don't, he won't be here long, I promise. But he has come to the city of Williston wanting to be a police officer. We're welcoming him. We're opening our arms up to him, and we're so proud to have him. And I think he's going to bring a lot of community policing and contact to our city. And I think he's going to represent all of you and me in this city well. So let's give him a hand clap and welcome him to the city of Williston.
Thank you. If anybody needs anything, I'll be driving around in a police vehicle.
That's the first test, right?
Hey, he's helped me already.
Yeah, right?
You did. You helped me at the hospital the other day.
There you go. Mr. President, turn it back over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You did a great job, sir. All righty. Item 4, proclamation. Volunteer awareness. Please. City Manager Terry Brevard. Right there.
All right. Can y'all hear me? All right. Very good. So, like I said, I get the honor tonight of representing the mayor and reading a proclamation that he wanted me to read. And basically, I'm going to go ahead. It's all about volunteer awareness and Volunteer Awareness Day. And I'll go ahead and get started. So, whereas the volunteer awareness is to recognize the hard work, dedication, and the passion volunteers as national service members throughout our great nation. Whereas last year, more than 65 million Americans gave their time and service to our nation, which is a testament to the compassion and generosity of the American spirit. And whereas the city is committed to encouraging volunteerism and national service among its employees, citizens, partners, businesses, and organizations, and thanks all volunteers and members in our community for their dedicated service. And whereas the city of Williston believes that the government alone cannot meet all of the city's needs, so we partner with businesses, faith-based organizations, nonprofit organizations, foundations, and individuals who serve in the city government and in our community to make a difference. And whereas the city is proud to engage residents and partners in volunteer awareness, now therefore I, Terry Bavard, on behalf of Mayor Charles Goodman of the city of Williston, together with members of the Williston City Council, do hereby recognize December the 4th, 2024 as Volunteer Awareness Day. In witness thereof, and hereunto, set my hand and cause to be affixed the seal of the city of Williston, Florida, on this 3rd day of December in the year of our Lord, 2024. City of Williston, signed by Terry Bavard on behalf of Mayor Charles Goodman. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, item 5, public participation. This is your first of 2 opportunities to address the council. At this time, anyone in the audience can come to the podium and speak for 5 minutes on any other topic than what is on the agenda.
Anyone on the Ring Central meeting wish to participate? Unmute your mic and speak up now. Nothing heard.
Item 6, consent agenda. These are the council minutes for November 6, 2024, and council minutes from November 19, 2024.
I move approval of the consent agenda with the changes as previously stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a first, we got a second. Any discussions? No? All right, seeing none, we'll move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. It's 5-0. Updates. Staff, board, and council updates. City Manager Terry Brevard.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'll be brief. Just want to let you know that as the time draws near towards the end of January, that I still have several things on my plate that I have to work on and push through, and I want to just bring them to your attention real quick. Just so also, if there's something that I've forgotten that y'all have asked me to do, please let me know to remind me. The 2 big things that I got going on, obviously, is still the WYAA MOU with them about the park up there. And then myself and Mr. Barber have the water and wastewater thing going on with Florida Rural Water. So at some point, we're going to have to go back. And I know he's been in contact with them, but we'll have to go and meet with them and go over some of our numbers and see where we stand with them. those are the really two things that I have on my plate that I know that I can accomplish before the new city manager steps in. If there's anything that I've forgotten, that you need done, please let me know.
All right, staff. Anybody got anything?
Yes.
Miss,
If you all would notice on the dais, I put a flyer about TextMyGov. Everyone should have it. We're getting ready to roll it out. We have it so far on our on the website, and on the top one, the very top one, it says report issues. If you scan that, it would give you instructions on if you need to report like a pothole, water leak, electric outage, and just different issues that you see within the city. The bottom QR code is for you to receive notifications from the city. Like, for instance, if the guys are working on the fire hydrants and the water pressure is low in your area, you'll receive a text stating that information. So when you get a chance, if you can, before you leave, if you want to try out the first one, that way you'll know how to instruct someone else. If they ask you how to use it, you'll be able to tell them exactly the steps to go through. And my second thing is just don't forget about the parade. If you're going to be in the parade Saturday, the lineup is at 5 o'clock. I don't know what time you guys want to meet over at the fire department. So
we start lining up at 5.
Lineup is at 5 o'clock. Okay. I heard it's going to be in the 40s. I'm not sure. So we'll see. And that's all I have.
All right. Just curious with the council, how many are planning to ride on? Okay. All right.
Not me personally.
I realize that. Are you either? I'll come to watch.
And we're going to ride on the semi-trailer? Yes? All right. Very good. All right. Does anybody have anything from Mr. Mayor? He maybe leave anybody anything? Okay. All right.
I have one thing.
Okay.
I just want to let y'all know that I've been in the hospital again with the same group that we were with before. They actually came back with an engineer and an architect. And I overheard most of what they're planning. I would like to do, and it sounds so exciting you would not believe it. All for our veterans that are here in this area. They also are they have also made connections with the VA hospital because they don't need the whole 26,000 square feet. And the VA needs 9,000. So they're going to try to work together. Mr. Ollie White over in the Levy County Veteran Service Office has also got their contact information. And like I said, this is the second time they've been there, and I'm feeling really good about it. So we'll just cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Count that anything else? All right. All right. Item 8, new business. A, discussion with possible action, pothole problems in the city and other issues. Williston resident Timothy Ecker. No? Okay. One more time for Mr. Ecker. All right. All right. Item B, Resolution 2024-97, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, establishing authorization for the Williston City Council President to sign an agreement to approve the contract for IP transport services with Lumen and not to exceed $36,000, and providing an effective date. Public Works Supervisor Donald Barber and IT Director Aaron Mills.
Good evening, Council. This contract is one part of the replacement of the wholesale internet that we currently have for CalLink, which will become Williston Fiber. And this part is required to provide improved services and IP addresses. So actually, this would be the new one then. So this is Cogent, the contract with Cogent. We have a closet over there that's going to have some improvements on the other wing. And this would be the feed. I believe it is, what's the gigabytes on it?
10 gig. We're starting with 10 gig.
And we're starting with 1,000 addresses. And so this is contracts and work that has to be done to implement what the engineers come up with to move forward with the fiber. And then if you don't mind, I can do the second one at the same time. If that's all right, you guys can vote on them both at the same time.
Different resolution.
We would have two separate votes, but if you want to explain them both at the same
In a
time,
nutshell, the
that's
first
helpful.
one is the transport that we have to buy from Lumen to get the services to us, and then the second one is for the services coming from Cogent to us.
Yeah.
We have to pay for the pipeline between us, and then we get the services from Lumen.
So y'all had a previous one a few months ago. That was the current service that we currently have, which will be an internal service of the city. These two, as Aaron just mentioned, one is the transport. So one is Cogent, which will provide the addresses and provide the actual bandwidth. But then the second contract is going to be the actual companies that own the lines, and actually we have to pay them to transport the information. It's kind of like if you think about the power of the past. We pay FMPA for the power, but there is a fee for Duke for the transport of that power. It's the same thing here in getting that information.
And of course, it comes down to the dollars.
Yes, sir.
So it's in the budget. It's all good.
So currently, CalLink, and Steven, if he's on, he can speak to this, has budgeted money, but not in total for this.
Yeah.
The only reason why we would do this is obviously for the fiber development. And so that money would be wrapped up within the loan that would be taken out. It would all be included. Unfortunately, this is about a 3 to 4 month process, and this could hold up actual connections. We could already have things built. We have to get these addresses, and we have to get this bandwidth in order to provide service. So that's why we're doing it now, because if we can get the installation and everything moved forward, it won't in any way affect our timeline, hopefully, of getting actual customers online.
Cool.
Is there a way to say no after we say yes tonight?
Well, it is a contract. So, I mean, the city has internet services, and Aaron could speak more to that. I mean, we would be able to strengthen what we have for ourselves in the city. We could release out that. We would own the addresses, so we could sell the addresses, which are extremely valuable. But, no, I don't think we could get out of the contract.
Well, like any contract, I'm sure there's an out clause. I'm just not sure what it would be, but it would cost us something, obviously, to get out of the contract.
And I think one of the issues with these two items, discussion between myself and Donald and Aaron, is that we've had these for several months, had them on the back burner, and didn't bring them to y'all because we really couldn't until you approved the MOU. Once you approved the MOU, it was possible to go ahead and get them in front of y'all for your approval. And it is like what Donald says: if we were to put this off for 3 months, that puts us 3 to 5 months down the road getting this work done, and then we would literally have fiber in the air with nothing to transport it, and no IP addresses to give the customer. So we were in somewhat of a quandary with which way to go, and this is the best path forward. You can most certainly look at the contract and see if there's an out clause. I don't recall one, but
My only worry would be if the contract doesn't go through with performance services.
Yeah.
And they were stuck with this cost. That would be my only. That's me thinking both directions.
Yeah.
I have to think about that too. Yes, I want to do it. Yes, I realize it's going to take a while to get it. But I want to make sure that the loan goes through with performance services, or we're stuck paying this anyway. And I hear you say that we could boost what we have currently.
If I can, the contract won't become effective until the service is put in.
Okay.
That's normally how they do it. Until they provide you the service, that's when your contract starts. So we've got until it's installed, which could be 3 to 4 months. You would still have that time frame that we could say, hey, look, things fell through.
So you don't have to sign it and pay money until
You don't have to pay anything.
deliver it?
Yeah, nothing's done until it's delivered.
That makes me feel better.
That's the way they
There's still
typically
that
do it
little
with
out
this.
there.
You still, you don't, your billing doesn't start until you're actually have service. So you're not paying for anything until it's actually done.
I know, but you don't have to sign the contract to get them started.
Yes, you do.
That's
Because they're laying out
that
money.
Commits us,
They're
well,
laying
that
out
commits
money
us
and
too,
materials to do this, and it does take that time frame of 90 to 120 days to get it done.
to establish it. But we would still be on the hook. We just have to hope the other comes. That we agree to do the other and they agree to do the other after they've done stuff.
Any other discussion with council? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to vote on resolution 2024-97.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2024-9.
Got a first, I have a second.
Second.
All right. We have a first, we got a second. Any other discussion? All right. Seeing none, move the vote. All in favor say aye. Please
Aye.
go up to your microphones. All right. And those opposed? No. All right. 5-0. All right. Next one we're going to vote on is C, is Resolution 2024-100. Would you like for me to read this? No.
Are you asking me to read it?
No, I was just asking the council if they would like for me to read it since we combined it the two.
We did.
No, we didn't, but Donald took care of both.
I
So-
make a motion that we approve resolution 2024-100.
Got a first, got a second. All right. Any other discussion? All right. We're going to, seeing none, we're going to move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right. 5-0. All right. Item D is a quasi-judicial.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is, it's been a long day. This is Resolution 2024-125, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving a proposed final subdivision plat for towns of Williston. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Anyone who has any information that they would like to present, any documentation that they would like to present in physical form, please provide that to the clerk now, other than what's in the packet. Okay, I'll ask the members of the council if they have had any ex parte communications on this. Ex parte communications or any communications that you've had regarding this topic outside of a public meeting. Anyone? Okay. All right, Mr. President, anyone who wishes to speak on this item, please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you. Now would be time for staff presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Galoo. This is the Towns of Williston. This is their plat. You guys have seen this multiple times. You're going to see it one more time after this in January. But this will be our final plat. So the Towns of Williston falls under the description of a major subdivision and must follow the Chapter 56 subdivision regulations of the Williston Code. The project is located on the corner of Southeast 4th and Southeast 12th. The legal description is in the application. Millrose Properties is the owner, and Steve McMillan is here. He is the agent. Towns of Williston consists of 5.01 acres with 58 lots. Ingress and egress to the development will be located off of Southeast 4th Street.
or easements have been put in place to accommodate electric, water, and sewer. We had a track needed for the lift station, and right-of-ways will be dedicated to the public. Common areas and drainage easements are maintained and managed by the homeowners association. Am I wrong? The right-of-ways are private. Approval of the development complies with the land development code for a major subdivision, so staff recommends approval. I did give you guys some large maps. Those are what's rolled up in front of you so that you can see it a little bit better, but you're not going to find anything big any different from what you've seen before here. Because we're not going to have a December meeting. Or
Is that all for your presentation, Ms. Jones?
yes, ma'am.
All right, now would be time for the applicant's presentation, if the applicant has any.
I'll ask a question while he's walking there. Is Southeast 12th the city road? It's not in the city limits.
It's
We
the
named
county
it a city name, but I'm not sure it's in the city limits.
It's a county road.
Okay. So, all right. I just don't know how we can call it a city road name if it's in the county.
You want me to call it the county road name? It's got two different.
I was trying to figure out where Southeast 12th Street, Straight Avenue was, and there's really not a Southeast 12th Avenue. I mean, it doesn't matter. I was just trying to decide if it was in the city limits, and it's not.
Maybe you can ask the streets and roads guy, because I don't know that much about roads. It's got three names.
Three names,
Philpott.
but it's not in. I know it's Philpott, and I know it's County Road 316, but it's not in the city limits. Is that correct?
Are you referring to on the plat the southeast 12th place?
Nope. That's inside the subdivision.
Okay. So you're talking about 316.
Yeah. If y'all notice, it says that it's Southeast 12.
Okay. So one lane would be within the city limits, from my understanding, and the south lane is in the county. So I believe that if you look at the county property appraiser, it's kind of like where the old middle school was. We had the west lane, and the county had the east.
Right. As long as they know it. Thank you.
I was waiting for an intro. Steve McMillan, I'm the applicant for this. You've seen it about a year ago. Like Laura said, nothing's really changed with the plat. We've added some fine-tuned some easements for a water meter box and some stuff that the engineer saw along the way, and things that change along the way as they start construction, permitting, and engineering, and all the good stuff. But they've bonded out, and they're ready to go to final plat. So that's where we're at.
How long would that take then once it's all approved?
My end or their end? Both? I don't have a clue what they're doing.
Are you talking about the build out?
When they would start?
They haven't put in any permits yet.
Okay.
My end, once this is approved here, we gather signatures, and I'll have it recorded by the end of January. As far as construction, it's not my bag.
I have a question, if you don't mind. Yes, sir. We were talking about the easements earlier. Was it the easements or the right of ways?
The roads are private. I guess they're easements and Reggie.
Okay, so the easement coming from 4th Street going into the subdivision is private? Isn't there a sidewalk there? Or will there be a sidewalk there?
No, I haven't seen a construction plan. I don't know.
I think there's one across.
Yeah, there's one across the
road.
street. I'm trying to I'm kind of worried about the easement part of it. I mean, as far as law enforcement action goes. Yeah, that's why I'm asking that question. Maybe you can help me out there.
I'm not really clear on that.
They're saying the easement coming off of 4th Street going into the subdivision is private. So, from once they get off 4th Street, doesn't the city own 20 feet off the road or 10 feet off the road? Am I correct? Something like that.
So your question, can you enforce state
Can we
laws on
enforce state
public
laws
On
on that
public right of
on
way?
that right
Yes.
of way? Well, it won't be public; it's private.
Well, it's always public right. I think the issue of the roads being private would mean that you can't enforce certain laws inside that subdivision.
Yeah, but I'm speaking from 4th Street going to the entrance of the subdivision. That's private, correct?
The roadway or
The edge of the roadway coming 4th Street going into the subdivision.
Egress.
Yes.
Wait, the edge of the roadway,
Going into the subdivision.
another 30 feet is still public.
Okay, that's what I wanted to
The
know.
roadway, paved roadway, is not centered inside of the public road right of way.
I just wanted to make sure there was still that public strip there.
Mm.
Okay, all right, I'm good.
Council got any questions?
Anything else from the applicant?
No, that's pretty good.
I have one question. You may or may not know the answer. Are there so many multiple buildings so it won't have to be sprinkled? I mean, why are there so many individual buildings instead of making it one big building? Or even 2 and 2 and 2? Why are there 4 on one side?
I'm going to
Have any idea about
that's
that?
an architectural question. I'm going to assume that Lennar probably had a standard set of plans from some other project that applied here, and they're able to just put it right in there. Is what I'm guessing, without having to re-architect.
Anybody who might know, maybe the fire chief, will they have to sprinkle these individual buildings? No. That's probably what it is.
And they're owned, they're not rented.
They're what now?
These
They're
are owned.
homes.
These are houses.
Right. Yeah.
On the town.
I know they're not rentals. They're for purchase.
What do you mean?
I just can't figure out why they're doing. Because if you got a big commercial building, and he's exactly right. If it was a commercial building, it'd have to be sprinkled if it's over a certain number of square feet. For example, Shadow Trailers is separate buildings, so they wouldn't have to put in a sprinkler. Just happen to know that. Because a sprinkler costs so much. So they put it in separate buildings and just move their production from one building to the next as they progress. And I just couldn't figure out why. And it's just me, just curiosity, wondering why in the world there are 12 separate buildings. I just thought it almost costs more to make 12 separate buildings, I would think, because you have to do 12 separate exteriors and roofs. If you put it all together, I realize it's probably the same number of square feet on the space. Not the...
Mrs. Jones, if I may,
Yes, please.
the end units are more desirable. So they try to make more end units.
The end units are more desirable,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
they try to make more of them. That makes sense. So see, that makes my brain understand a little more.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Made a lot of yen.
All right. If there's nothing else from the applicant, now would be time for staff rebuttal.
No rebuttals. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any commentary from the public? Okay. Any rebuttal from the applicant? Mr. President, now would be time for council discussion and a vote if appropriate.
All right. Council? Thoughts? No? Any thoughts? Okay. Then, public? Okay. Vote. Can I have a motion?
I move we approve resolution 2024-125.
Second.
We have a first. We got a second. Any other discussion? No. All right. Move to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. All right. 5-0.
Thank you.
And we are closing this as a quasi-judicial.
Yep. The next item is not quite that.
All right. Item E, Resolution 2024-130, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, establishing authorization for the City of Williston to move forward with RFP low bid repairs for the Fugate Lift Station through RCM Utilities LLC and the purchase of 2 portable bypass pumps through BBA Pumps through the Sheriff's Association Cooperative Purchase Program and a new replacement primary pump through FJ Nugent and Associate Inc. and provide an effective date. Public Works Supervisor Donald Barber and Mr. Walt Eckler.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you and the other council members are aware, we've been struggling for many months to come up with a good solution to the problem that we've been having at the master lift station for the city. So the storms and the age of the equipment and the lack of capital investment, it's in need of many essential repairs, as we've discussed previously. In October, the RFP went out in cooperation with Wright Pierce and the city staff on repairs and installation of a bypass pump and also a bypass installation to connect. The staff recommended, and after doing that we did not go with any of the bids that came in through the RFP for the actual purchase of the portable pumps. So there's 3 components of this. I'll go over real quick, and then if you have any technical question, Walt is here to answer those. We want to first install at the Fugate Lift Station, just with inside the gate and outside of the actual structure, a valve that would be able to take a hose from one section of the wet well and bypass the actual station if all the pumps went down in an emergency, connect to this new valve, which is the force main to the plant, and basically just circumvent that one station if that station were to have catastrophic failure. Irregardless of whether we rebuild this station in the future or whether we keep similar technologies that we have there now, that bypass pump will always be something that we should have had a long time ago in case of any kind of catastrophic failure. The alternative is basically hiring trucks to come in, take a load, take it to the plant, take a load, take it to the plant. We did a little bit of the math. We figured out we'd need about 17 trucks a day and at almost $1,000 a pop. That's definitely not an affordable option. We would have to do that until a repair would be made. So the bypass itself is critical to making sure that the station isn't something that we have to have running no matter what, because you can't guarantee anything. The second component of that are the bypass pumps. So this bypass pump is what they call a trash pump. It has to be a certain size so that it transports a certain amount of waste. It also can't be too big because you can overload the plant. So obviously Wright Pierce had a part in that. That is where the hose goes into the wet well before the station and then goes in and connects to the bypass that we just previously spoke about. So that's the second part of that. Within this proposal and this resolution, we are asking for 2 of those trash pumps, and they are $53,000 approximately, and many people may wonder why 2. Well, because if something were to happen to that one pump, we can't use any of the water pumps on the sewer. So I couldn't pull the extra pump that we use for water leaks and all that, because once I used it for sewer, I wouldn't be able to return it back to service for water. So we need a backup to that backup. You always want that redundancy, again, because we'd be back to the trucks, 17 trucks a day transporting sewer. So that's the reason for the 2 pumps. And then the last part of this is in between figuring our SRF loan, our state revolving fund, which is specifically studying the critical nature of some of the sewer in most parts of town. That process being a long process of doing the study and then applying for the actual funds and making sure that you guys want to move forward with some of those capital improvements, we have to make sure that the pumps are updated. You'll only find one quote within the packet, and that's because over a period of about 3.5 years, we couldn't find a company that had any pumps that would fit in there, and magically one just appeared and approached us, probably through word of mouth of the engineers and others that we've had through Todd from Twofold, just trying to get the word out. And we came up with this company, FJ Nugent. They met with the engineers. They've assured us that they have a pump for about $24,000 that they believe they can retrofit and get working. So that's what we're wanting to do. Currently, as Walt, I believe a couple meetings ago, expressed to you, we've got 3 pumps. One in the middle is completely down, inoperable. They went in there. We've tried to work on it. We've tried to get it running. Not possible. The primary pump, which used to be the backup pump, had electrical issues. Those were figured out, and that pump's not leaking at all, and right now it's our primary. So that was a great relief. And then the pump that has been running it for probably about the last 1.5 years, it's leaking like a sieve, but it will work and it will run. So in an emergency, if the one pump fails, we can use that, but we don't know what that lifespan of that leaking gasket are going to be. So what we'd like to do is that leaking pump in that 3rd position, to replace that with this pump, so that we would have one brand new pump, which would be our primary, and then the one that's currently our primary would be our redundancy and our backup. So if you're asking, if we buy this pump, is this something that we would have if the station were redesigned? I can't answer that question. Walt wouldn't be able to answer the question. We have to determine whether we keep a confined space. But again, that process for that SRF loan is probably going to be a minimum of 1 year away. And in that time period, we really don't want to have to rely on a bypass pump if something were to happen. And again, this is the master lift station. 2 minor lift stations, Russell and Acre, which take divisional waste, transport to this. And every other lift station in town, save Northwest 9th Circle and the new Country Lane Estates lift station, which used to be the Peggy O'Neill lift station. So those 2 are the only stations that directly pipe to the plant themselves in a singular pipe through Peggy O'Neill Park. Other than that, every bit of flow from the airport all the way over to the southeast to the northeast, all of that flow comes into Buget. It's not something that we can have go down. So working within the mechanism of government and how quickly it moves, this is what we've come up with. And again, if you have any technical questions, Walt can answer those.
So, Mr. President, I do have a couple comments real quick, and both Walt and Mr. Barber can attest to this also. When he talks about a critical failure, our critical failure was at noon on the last day of Milton, or is it Helene, where a fuse knocked out that entire facility. We were 30 minutes away from shutting off all the water to the city. That is the only other option. So when that plant goes down, that is the only thing that we can do right now is to turn off everybody's water. The bypass pumps are so important, and Donald and them have done this before, where they have replaced these pump heads live, right, which is the opinion of both myself and Mr. Nichols, extremely dangerous. Obviously, the thing fills up, and you're in there. The other second pump we're talking about, we use it as a replacement for the one we have on standby at the waste treatment facility, so we have a need for the second one. There's an issue that we have under control out there, but that other pump is standby or stood by there in case we have the issue come back up. Also, just to let you know, talked to Stephen today, and I know he's online. The funds for this will come from the contingency funds from utility, and it's really a must-do kind of thing. We're really at that point. I'm like them. It could easily go a year. It could go 10 years. Obviously, the SRF loans, we would hope we would have that by now. But it is a dire situation. You're more than welcome to add whatever you like. Follow the council president.
Fine.
So, quick question. Here. Go ahead. So, the portable pump, it's not actually portable. It's just called.
No, they are. They're trailer.
So
Walt Nichols with Ray Pierce. They're mounted on trailers. They're diesel operated. They're large, size of smaller than a van, but they're a large pieces of equipment that are on a trailer's wheel, so it can be moved around.
Okay.
Site to site. So yes, ma'am.
Now the emergency pump, the one that I guess you're going to be your primary. So when it's attached, so if it's the primary, it's going to continually be going. So it's not like if it goes down, it will automatically pick up and do what you need done, right?
Well, within the lift station, there's 3 pumps, permanent pumps built in. It's made to operate with 2 pumps running. One is always a backup. So if you have a 2 pump system, it's made to run on one's backup. Fugit has 3 pumps. 2 should be available to run with the 3rd backup. You've been running with a single pump for years. So we're going to get it back to at least that single pump is the primary. You have the one that we were able to get going in October, becomes the secondary. So yeah, but they actually, between the 2 pumps, they're running electronically. They cycle between each other. We call one the primary, but this one will run as the primary, and then the other one will switch in, so you kind of even out the balance and able to do that, even out there and there. So yeah, we're putting in a new primary pump. The one thing I did want to add, so yeah, we put out a bid, if you wanted to bid out the emergency repair, the physical construction of the valves, and so forth that we're doing, and that's what we're doing. We also requested bids for those 4 pumps also in that same bid process. And we could award just the connection, just the pumps, or any combination thereof. So we're only going with the connection from the low bidder from RCM. They also gave us a price for those 2 portable pumps. That price was $98,000 per pump. We were able to find, and it was due to me that the Florida Sheriff's Association has this piggyback purchase program, cooperative purchase program, and they have pumps that work. Surprisingly, that they have these types of equipment, and so we're getting that for $52,942. We're saving $45,000 per pump, or $90,000 by going to the Florida Sheriff's Association. So that's a huge savings for you. I know this is a big outshell for you, but it could have been worse. Fortunately, we were able to find that purchase program, and so that is saving you, $90,000. So that was a big thing. So that's why we're only taking one part of the bid, the part that's the physical construction. We're going to do the purchase through the Florida Sheriff's Association.
Very important lesson. If we neglect it, this is where we're at.
Any other questions?
The pumps that we're putting in, if we chose to rebuild the Fugit lift station, would the pumps that are going in be able to work in any of the other lift stations?
I would say probably not. I mean, this is unique to this. And that $24,000 for that pump put in, the city's going to be doing the work. They're doing the install. You're just buying the equipment. The city staff, so you're saving a lot of money there also with the city doing the labor to do that install. $24,000 that's the cheapest part of this. Well over spending that money. But probably wouldn't be able to be used somewhere else. It's unique to the pressure, the depth, the type of installation. And what eventually you're going to have to replace Fugit. It would probably be a different type of station. We'll look at the cost analysis of that. Can we retrofit that? It would not be what they call a wet well, dry well, most likely be a suburban type station. Convert that, or we build a whole new one. We would analyze that when we get to that point, but likely this pump could be.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? No? All right. Then I will entertain a motion for approval of resolution 2024-130.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-130.
All right, got a second?
I second.
All right, got a first, got a second. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. 5-0. All right, thank you, everybody. Item F, Resolution 2024-131, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, reappointing Deborah Jones and Wayne Carson to the Williston General Pension Board, respectively, for the terms beginning January 6, 2025, and ending January 5th, 2027, providing an effective date. Councilmember Williston General Pension Board President Deborah Jones.
I would say I'm the chair, not the president. But yes, this is a recommendation that comes to you from the pension board. I am willing to serve again, and so is Mr. Carson. And the term is expired, so always expiring in January.
So what's the process of doing that? The pension board is the one that makes the recommendation as to who is on the board?
Yeah.
There's no advertising or ask for seeing anybody else.
If there was a vacancy, like Mr. Conley came off, Clay Conley came off, and Mr. Carson came on. Somebody else came off. Y'all remind me who was the other person? Laura came off, and BJ replaced her.
I was curious if it was advertised or if it was, what the process was.
It's pretty much in-house because you have to know this. I mean, I don't know if anybody who's ever served on it that wasn't a staff member or a council member. We have had as many as 2 council members at a time. We have always try to have one person who's already retired to represent the retirees' interests, and we try to have a couple of employees to represent the current employees' interests. I think our current makeup is 3 employees, 1 retiree, and 1 council member. That's our current makeup. Nope, that's not right. We have 2 others. Okay, that's right.
Okay.
So your position is fired and so is the current?
It needs to be, we need to be reappointed to serve again. We're both willing to do that, yeah.
But do you ask other people to see whether or not they are in it? I'm not.
We don't usually. It's a very technical board. We meet quarterly. Florida League of Cities does come and they tell us about all the investments that the pension funds money is put into an investment, and they come and they give us that information. They also do our minutes and they record the meetings and do the minutes. Trying to think what else they do. If we need to know, for example, another item on our agenda tonight, where we need to know information, they have an actuary who will actually do a study and tell us how much that would cost to actually do that benefit or make that improvement to the fund.
So there's no opportunity for anyone else to join the board unless somebody who's on the board decides they don't want to be on the board.
That's the way we've done it in the past.
I mean, I'm just asking.
And asked and answered. Yeah, we've usually just, if somebody drops off, somebody else hears that there's a drop, and that's the position that's open.
Councilmember Jones.
I don't know what else to say. I've answered everything.
Can I piggyback off you?
You serve. Latricia
Okay.
also serves.
What happens is when someone's term is up, the facilitator, which is Jeremy, he will ask the person that's getting ready to expire if they would like to continue on the board. And if they say yes, then what we do is just we reappoint them. If they say no, then that's when I will put out a notice that we have an opening on the pension board.
So the reason I'm asking is because if somebody's term is up, then that means that gives somebody else an opportunity. But if you do not tell somebody that there's an opportunity for that term is becoming vacant, then they don't have that opportunity to say or think that they may want. And when we look at people staff or whomever doing things within the city and growing within the city. They can't do that if the person's there. It's automatically asked they want to continue without giving somebody else the opportunity. So that was the reason for my question.
Anybody else have anything? Alrighty, then I will entertain a motion for Resolution 2024-131.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-131.
I'll second.
I got a first, got a second. Any other discussion?
No,
Well-
just other than you guys may want to do this.
Any more discussion? No, anybody? All right, seeing none, we're going to move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. 5-0. All right. Next is a public hearing. Ms. Blue.
Mr. President, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. This is on Ordinance 2024-739, an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, providing for the permanent closing of the unimproved road right-of-ways, a part of Brevard Street, a part of Columbia Street, and a part of Michigan Avenue. Further reported plat, Hillcrest Unit 1, as reported in Plat Book 2, page 5 of the Public Records of Levy County and Williston, Florida, that lie within parcel ID number 06114-000-00, an approximate area of 2.178 acres, more or less, and a description as in Exhibit A, finding that the closing of the road right-of-way will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, providing for the repeal of conflicting ordinances and providing an effective date. I'll ask if any of the council members have had any ex parte communications regarding this topic. Okay. If anyone has any documentation that they would like to have in the record for this item that is not already in the agenda, please provide same to the clerk. Okay. Anyone who wishes to speak to this item, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. All right, Mr. President, now would be time for staff to give their presentation.
Mr. President, if it's okay, I'm sending staff with one larger copy to each side of the dais, because I noticed that when it was printed out in the agenda, it was difficult to read. So if anybody'd like to take a look at the bigger one. So this is a property. We've got some unimproved roads, old plat. Property owner does not want to use the roads for what his development's going to be. The city does not want the roads, so this is called a road vacation. Basically, we're just going to vacate those old roads and not ever improve them. Right? Is okay.
On this plat, can you identify the property or not?
It is the whole property. Yes, ma'am.
You can vacate all the roads in the plat.
Yes, ma'am.
If the plat's not built out. I did. Yep. You use like this Tiger's house is one that comes up with the address.
Yeah,
So
Miss Geiger, and then the mini storage.
Right.
Actually, yeah, the mini storage here. So yeah, these are all these roads were platted 100 years ago, and they've been a thorn in my side for everyone who's ever built anywhere. We did the same thing to the church. About the same amount of roads, we closed them all so the church could build there. The major thoroughfares we were not allowed to close at that time, so I did not ask for that. But there's an old, this is still unimproved here, and then this one is unimproved this way. But the council at the time we did the church wanted to leave a couple of unconstructed roads. So this is the balance of what would be left.
And they still have the old names because they've never been constructed. So they don't have. Yeah.
60-foot right of way.
Yes.
Pardon?
What year were these dedicated?
20 something. They had names.
What has names?
They had names back then.
Oh,
Remember?
Yeah, I remember the whole city when it had names.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mr. Robinson does
It was
too.
probably really nice.
Are you that old? I'm not sure you are. Like I grew up on Church Street, and it's now Southeast First Ave, so totally different than what it was before. It was Church Street when I was there.
Okay.
So these plots of land that we're seeing, these parcels, they're not built out either. I mean, is it a subdivision? Hillcrest is a platted subdivision.
Yeah, these are the blocks and the lots inside of them.
And this gentleman owns
All of,
the development.
right.
Okay.
3, 4, 5, part of 6. This is Glenn Robinson.
Right.
7, and then 8 is Geiger and I thought there was a second house there, which we can't do that. This is the old the Stony Elm,
Right.
or not Stony Elm, Smoky Elm. Yep. Property. So this is just nothing but trees and trees and trees and trees, and there's nothing.
Yeah, it was Miss Beulah's farm, I think. So he's now ready to do something with Hillcrest. Is that the case?
He hasn't told me he can do whatever he's allowed in zoning, but yeah, he's moving forward.
Okay.
And one of them would be to gain the road back private.
No, I was not answering.
See my answer?
I see her turn on her microphone.
Here we go.
We're already past it. Comment is done.
Council have any questions?
All right, Mr. President, now would be the staff rebuttal or closing, if there is any.
I have no rebuttal. Staff recommends approval of vacation of the roads.
Now would be the time for any public comment. Okay. Any applicant rebuttal or closing?
No, I mean, this will be, I can't remember how many acres it is, but the acres will come back on the tax roll. Which would be good for the city and whatever he's doing. But it'll finally be done. I think I've seen this for 30 years now.
Is it currently zoned R1 or R2? Do you know what the zoning is? Who's looking? Do what now?
I think it might be commercial.
It's commercial?
It might be. I don't have the map.
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, C2.
That's the end of your rebuttal
That was the end
slash
of mine.
closing. All right, Mr. President, it is back to the council for discussion.
Okay, there's Mr. Robinson, I think it is. He has a question.
You'll need to be sworn in.
And sir, did you have a question as well?
You have to be
gotta
sworn
be
in
sworn.
first. Mr. Robinson, can you stand up?
Anyone who has decided that they're going to speak, stand and raise your right hand. And your names for the record?
Oh, look at that.
All right. Do you each swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You are duly sworn.
And please state your name.
Again.
Andy Roberts. So the roadways you're talking about, those are just the ones in the planet line. Not going to affect the road, Sutton Road, Cemetery Road, Church.
No, it's no existing roads.
So on the right, yeah, he can be on the right. So roadway, if I remember right, actually goes right into the backyard. That's correct.
Yeah, y'all need to pull the microphone where you are.
I think that roadway actually. See if I can. Not closing that one. Doing the two little.
North is upside down, so it's a little bit weird. The paved road to the church is over here. Glenn's strip is here. And then we're not touching what would be Glenn's rights. We can only close our half of what my client owns. So there's a rectangle here, next time I saw Glenn, that we can discuss, that he can close. But right now, that's not what my client's, he's not closing other people's rights. So he owns these blocks, he's allowed to close. That's why there's only half a road over here, because he doesn't own that there. But the full roads, because he owns both sides.
It's to the council.
Okay, Mr. McMillan, where you're not closing the other half that you were pointing to, is that where the vendors live? Not the vendors, but Lewis.
Yes, yeah,
These are the Lewises right here.
right. This one and this one. This is Lewis and Fender. I can't remember. Yeah, we don't have the rights to their side of the street, so we're only closing the shaded part.
I knew there were residences there.
Yep.
That's why I was just trying
There's
to
two houses
check
here.
out.
We can only own. That's why we didn't do Glenn Robinson here, because obviously we don't own his half.
Right.
He would, if he closed it, he would pick up that rectangle.
But your gentleman owns all this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. Just not that one.
Right, that's one here. Yep.
And the Geiger house is.
This is the paved road to the church here.
Okay, gotcha.
And the church is here. So her house.
So the
is
Geiger
here.
house is way over here. Because the mini storage is over here, right?
Well, mini storage. Well, mini storage here. Cemetery road here.
Okay.
Old house, residence. I get these two people. Yeah. Yeah, paved road back way to the church.
State your name, sir. Go ahead and ask your question.
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to beat up on anybody.
Oh, okay.
Man,
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir. do you think?
Our turn still, or is it public turn? Whose turn is it?
It is the council's decision now it's up for you to discuss, make a motion. There will be public comment on the motion if there is a motion.
So if we got nothing to
My,
say,
I do. That's why I
Okay.
just didn't know if it was my turn yet. And I'm sorry, I have something to say, whether you like it or not. I have concerns for the residences that are in there, and in the fact that it's zone commercial. And that's what I'll just say, that there are quite a few. I won't say quite a few. There's probably 3 or 4 residences in there. And that's where the partial streets are that he's talking about. And they own the other side of the street, which would be right in front of their house. So I worry about what they might do if it's something commercial. I'll just have concerns about that.
So this isn't about the zoning of the property. It's just about those roads. So he could still do commercial and just not be on the roads.
I realize that. But
So
the
we're just
road is-
giving him more.
But the road would be between them and give more of a buffer. That's, in those certain areas where the residents
on Block 8.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about?
Block 8's the only
Right.
he owns Block 3.
Right.
The other house is 3
Well, whatever he does commercially, he needs to buffer them according to our code.
And I know we left that open when they built the church. They wanted to open. I think they wanted to open it then, and we said no. They wanted
At the church, I tried closing everything we got.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Except that one, and the residences didn't want it open because they didn't want a through street. I think it is a through street now. Are people driving through there in front of the Lewises? There was a fence, but I don't think there is anymore. So they are driving there now. That's the back way you're talking about.
Back way is right on the east side or the front of the Lewis's. That's the paved road.
Right.
That's obviously still there. We're not touching it.
Right.
So, just as a side note, this is an ordinance, so all the residences got letters, so they are aware that this is happening. They're not uninformed. Which is my problem.
This is also the first reading of this ordinance. This will come back before you for second reading, just like every other ordinance.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Concerns? Anything? All right. If not, then I will entertain a motion for approval of ordinance 2024-737. 739. Sorry.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-739.
Got a first? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a first, got a second. Any other discussion? All right. Seeing none, move to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. 5-0.
Thank you.
And now that we'll close the public hearing. All right, H. Discussion with possible action, regular retirement or 25 years of service and out. Councilmember / Williston General Pension Board President Deborah Jones.
Okay, you have on your dais, you have this from Laura Underhill. It states 3 different things. The ones we are currently concerned with are number 2 and number 3. We originally started with number 1, which was when the employees asked to add overtime pay to their pensionable earnings. Excuse me, I'm still choking. And they put that one on the back burner and went to discussion of 25 and out and 30 and out. We asked the actuary to do a study which cost around $18,000 to $20,000 to actually get these numbers. And he was doing it for the regular plan, so it didn't cost quite as much as it would have because we did it at the same time. If you look at number 2 first, and we're also talking October 1st to October 1st of 2023. If you'll note, the email is dated in April. So the last full year was the October 1st, 2023, where he could look at the salaries of our employees. And they look at the age, they look at when they would retire, how long they've been here. They take all that into account when they come up with the dollar amount for when they could retire. And that's the 20 and out. Right now, you have to be a certain age in order to retire. It's not 25 years at any age or 30 years at any age. It's 62. It's a little bit different for the police department because they're a high rank. I mean, high risk. Thank you so much. High risk. And so they're 55, but the others are 62. Full retirement at 62 if you've worked here for a certain number of time and you're invested. As you see, number 2 which is the 25 and out total that he gave us. It says the total projected liability is estimated to increase, which is to the plant, $20,274,000, and that is over the course of a whole year. It would be that much. On the basis of the city's contribution, it's estimated that it would increase $40,056 for the year of 2023-2024. So because we were already in April, so it would have to go from April to October, and that was just for that year, which is a 2.5% increase in payroll. If we decided to do the 25 and out.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So is that per person or is that per?
No, for the whole payroll. For everybody that was currently in the pension plan. So it doesn't include the police officers, and it doesn't include the fire department. It's just the general employees. Because they have their own pension plan that's separate from this one. And they have their own separate pension board. If anybody's interested in that pension board, they have that one as well. Also effective, if you look at the next one down, again, a year ago when they looked at this, they actually looked at April, but they had to look at the last full year of wages. And so they looked at the October 2023 year at the amount of the wages. If it was 30 and out, it was an increase for the entire year of $132,936. For the year from April to October, to just take us through that portion, it was $24,644 just for that fiscal year, which of course we are in a different fiscal year now, which is an increase of 1.32% of the payroll. So that is, and it on the agenda it says 25 and out, but the actual discussion should be 25 and out or 30 and out, or whether you're interested in doing it at all. This is brought to us again. The pension board has approved it as a recommendation to you.
Which one, 2 and 3, or what is this one they recommend?
They recommended the 25.
So one is off the table. Or does
I don't know that it's off the table, but they kind of said we'd rather have this. It's kind of what happened. And y'all are sitting out there. You can talk if you want to. We have representatives sitting out there. We originally started talking about the overtime pay being included, and they wanted that because the police department has that in their 185 pension plan. They do include their overtime hours, and the general employee pension plan does not include their overtime hours. And yes, it would be a larger percentage of their money and a larger percentage of ours because we pay the same. Right now they pay 5%.
What are we currently paying?
I think it's like 10.7.
So we're back up to 10, but we're at 0.
We were at 0 because we were so well funded. But now the market has done so bad because, as I said earlier, they invest the funds that sit there and wait for the person to retire. But the market has gone up and down so much, and that the investments have been reported to us. In some quarters, we lose money. Some quarters, this last quarter, we've done really well. But like 2 before that, we did not. Yeah, the last 2 we did really well.
Yeah. So if you look at option number 1, that's going to cost the city an additional 10% above whatever overtime they're making. The city's got to pay 10% on that. Plus the employees got to pay 5% on that.
Right.
So everybody pays for that, right? That extra money. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. Either which way, I understand this, that if we were to go with option number 1, it's going to cost the city a 10% every year on that extra overtime money that they make. How much that is, I don't know. I don't
230,471 in the year 2023.
So basically, it would cost. You talking about is that the projected cost of both us and them?
No, that's just us.
So you tell us.
No, that's just us. That's our liability. That's not their liability. That would be ours.
So the other way to figure that out is the actuary must have looked at their overtime for the year, for that 23 year. And they're always looking a year back, right? So, because that's the numbers that they have. They can look at it, figuring their actual numbers. So, this guy's saying is that if we would have paid the overtime, just the overtime, the city would have paid an additional $230,471 on top of what we'd already paid for their base salary.
No, that's not what it's saying. It's $21,318. I have to be honest.
It says
this
the
memo
projected
is
liability
difficult
is
to read.
estimated to
This
increase
memo is what?
It's difficult to read.
$230,471.
It's 21,300. It says right here that on this basis, the city's contribution is estimated to increase by $21,308.
That was only from April to October.
It says for the fiscal year. It says
Because
for
we
the
were already in April when he wrote this. So the balance of the year, if we started then, would have been $21,318.
And when's the fiscal year for it to do it? 'Cause
We're
it says
already in the
20
next fiscal year, so the whole amount is $230,741. Right. Well, that's not what it says. It says the overtime pay is included in the definition of pensionable earnings effective October 1st. The total projected liability is estimated to increase by $230,471. That's exactly what I said.
So I think my question is Stephen online.
They're having trouble with the online.
Because whatever you do, you can take a look at whatever our overtime rate was for that year, whether it was 230,000 or 300,000, whatever it is, and that would be 10% of that number. Now, I don't know what our overtime rate was.
This actuary is telling us that our projected liability is estimated to be $230,000.
Mr. Bloom, please speak up if you have anything to add to this conversation.
That's
You
not
have to
the way I
unmute
read
your
it.
mic.
Not the way I understood it either.
Yeah, this is Steven. I'd have to run some numbers. I apologize. I have not looked at the numbers of the actuarial report.
Do you have any idea that the total amount of our overtime hours for the general employees? Probably doesn't individually.
If he,
I do not.
okay.
Okay.
No, do not.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
I believe you have someone that wants to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you pull the mic
Pull the
down?
microphone
DJ?
down, please. Ma'am.
City of Williston employee as well as pension board member. When I talked to our gentleman Jeremy that helps us, he told me that the $21,318 is what it would have increased if we did that for with our overall total, because we currently contribute $128,000 a year, and if we just did number one, that it would increase by the $21,318. If we did just number two, it would increase by the $40,056. If we did just three, it would be $24,644. If we did both, if we did 1 and 2, which was something that we also looked at, it would be $61,374 total together for the year. Whenever I talked to Jeremy about it.
Not the way I understood, but we need clarification.
What if I ask a question? We've talked about the union before in meetings. Why does I realize you have representatives here. Why does not your representative union ever come to the meetings? So in situations like this, where it's
Alex, that was
So, well, and I can also answer that. So, and Alex is more than welcome to share his union point of view, the union president. For me, offering the 30-year and out, this discussion we had with the union is I really wasn't looking for nothing in bargaining to do this. So now, having said that, that doesn't necessarily mean that y'all have to do that. You can most certainly say, look, we believe this is something should be bargained for. And basically it should go back to the union to bargain for. You could extend it all out to 2026 if you want to. If we're going to have a discussion about union right after this, shortly after. So just because I say, look, I'm not really concerned with getting something from it, because I'll be honest with you, I was looking at number 3, paying an additional $24,644 a year to me wasn't that big of a deal, when I know that the general employee pension has $170,000 in reserve, or $140,000, whichever it is, that we can most certainly dip into to make this payment for 7 years, and the city would be in a better financial condition. Now, whether or not that's a smart move fiscally or not, I don't know that it is, but I most certainly would think that why should the city pay when the city pension has the money sitting in there that can pay this amount of money to get their 30 years and out. I was willing to take that route with them. Now, like I said, having said all of that, I work at the discretion of the city council. Y'all may direct me to go back and say, look, this is something that most certainly needs to be bargained for over the next 3 years, and if they want to change it.
And I would add that too is definitely a benefit, and that's what the union does is bargain for benefits. And I believe our current pension only allows an opening for wages.
Just for wages only, and like I said, we're going to have a further discussion with that, and not to cut off Ms. Jones, but I have strong feelings about this 30 and out. I'll be honest with you, I really do. I don't know why anybody would work for the city for 30 years and then retire at 53. Or give me 30 years to you, Alex.
30 years for me when I started would be
51. So then Alex has to leave here. Now he could stay, but he would have to leave here, and give up his job as the utility director and basically, go get another job just to have life, health insurance. And so he can't even draw his pension. Sorry, John. Yeah. He can't even draw his pension until he turns 62 under the current way it was written. I don't know this for a fact. I think the people that probably agreed to this at that time
this had no bearing on them being 62 and drawing. I think they all knew they would be over 62, wouldn't even be an issue, so they just simply agreed to it. I'm assuming there may be organizations out there that do 30 years and you have to work another 10 years, 62 to get it. I most certainly will not. I don't know that. To be honest with you. So that's why I was so agreeable with 30 and out, and that's why I was so generous to the union. You know, and like I said, if I most certainly overstepped my authority, you know, I'm more than happy to be corrected, and I was more than happy to go back to the union and negotiate this in a fashion that y'all see fit. But it just didn't make any sense for me to have somebody like Jonathan, I'll be honest with you, worked at 53 or whatever it is, and then basically 55. He's got to sit around for 7 years until he gets his retirement. It doesn't seem right.
So, I guess I kind of got confused. So, with the 30 and out or 25 and out, they start receiving the pension at that point?
If we change this by ordinance, which is the proper way to do it, if you change it by ordinance, what will happen is that that once they hit 30 years and retire, they can immediately draw their pension the very next month, right?
Right.
The city ordinance for the general employee pension fund is made up of multiple ordinances. You have to go back and read to figure its structure. So it's sometimes hard to read, but that is one of the things in there. You got to be 62 to draw it. And so people that come here early, we want to attract people that are here early. We want them to build a career here. We want Alex one day to rise to the level of the utility director, right? So, you know, what's the motivation for him to stay and work hard if he knows, hey, at 52 or 53 or 51, I get 30 years in, but I said, now I got to stop and go get a job. I'm not going to get any more money for my pension. I want to take words from your mouth, but like I said, for me personally, I just have a hard time. That's the 30 and out now. That's I have some other feelings about the others, but not like that.
Yeah, last time it was brought up, we were asked to ask our members what they thought would be best, and they all voted for 25 and out. But this wasn't brought up by the union, it was also brought up by the pension board. It wasn't negotiated by the union, brought up by the union board involved there.
But it was brought to the pension board by the employees.
By the employees, yeah.
Yeah, not.
I mean, that's the only reason we were talking about it.
Did I cover our meeting fairly well?
Yes.
If I may, having just gotten this tonight and not having a chance to look it over and discuss it anyway, I am not at all comfortable voting on it.
And I can call and get clarification. They may be very right in that the $230,000 is the total liability, and that our liability will only be 21. If that's the case, it's a different story.
For the overtime.
Right. That's for the overtime. That's right. I can tell you that I personally am not in favor of 25 and out. 30 and out, I would consider.
And I'm going to be fair to the employees here. How this whole thing started was, it's not like they were sitting around dreaming up stuff to do. I know the overtime was an issue, but I attended one of the meetings that looked at the actuaries in your book. You're already paying to have your book open, so you've already paid a lot already for them to be in there manipulating your numbers and looking at them. Maybe this is an opportunity where he would be willing to do it for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 and give us some estimates and ideas of what those times would look like. So I think it was a collaborative effort among both. And so I'm like you. I mean, I know it's a lot to digest, and although we are more intimately involved in it, I don't know the number on one. But I'll be honest with you, I was as confused as Ms. Jones. The reason why I didn't want number one is because we had to pay our 10% of whatever their overtime rate is, and we just cost more money to the city.
And for me, paying for overtime that is, in some cases, maybe a privilege. I'm not really sure how the overtime is always done, whether it's not that things are happening and you automatically have to, work overtime in order to get things done. So for me, I'm not in favor of including overtime pay in this section, in that part. The 30 and out, I'm still, I think, kinda confused.
On how it works, or
Well, yeah, that, but also, how it really will affect them in the long term.
so
Related to leaving and getting a pension for up until 62, and then, because that money is now no longer going to be accruing or anything, is going to stop right there. So therefore, they actually lose money in the interim as opposed to making money.
well, if they work 30 years and quit and go work somewhere else, you lose that benefit also. It's just a delayed payment, until they're 62. And the multiplier for the 30 years and out translates to 67.5%. So 67.5% of the lifetime, or their highest time. Would be what they. The fact that we have a multiplier 2.25 is unique.
Very high compared to that.
Yeah. And PD is a little higher because they're 3% of the law enforcement, only for the law enforcement. So, yeah, no, they don't have to stop working at 30. They could do 30 years, go in the drop, do 5 years of drop, put in 35 years in the city, and then basically could retire and have their drop money at the same time. So there's a provision for drop.
So when you say 30 and out, they don't actually have to get out.
No, they can stay.
Right. In the drop, they do.
Yeah.
In the
When
30 and out,
when
they
you
don't.
were saying it, it sounded as though once they hit their 30 years, they automatically have to leave and go somewhere else. But if that's not the case,
No,
then
they can stay 30. Like I did 34 years in Mary Kay. That's another one. So, you could do 40. You can work all the way up to 62, whatever you have. So no, they don't have to leave it.
At the next meeting, let me bring you what our pension is. And it actually will tell you what the benefit is. I mean, like right now, if they work to 62 and they're vested, they retire because they've been here long enough to do that. We actually will pay their insurance till they're 65 and get their own Medicare. But like they're saying, if they're in the drop and they retire at 30 and out and they're 52, 53 years old, they're not going to have any health insurance unless they go out and find some. And they don't know how hard it is to do that, to get that, and how much it costs. They probably do know how much it costs. They're paying for family. And in the drop, you keep your money in your pot, and I can bring you all this. You keep your money in your pot for your retirement. But once you enter the drop, they put all your money that you would put in your pension, they put it instead in a pot. And when you retire, they give you the pot, as well as your pension.
Plus you're paid while you're still here.
Right.
So you're
Plus you're
technically
paid for the 5
retired
years
at
you're
work.
still here. I mean, the drop is excellent, but you
Mike
have to
and I
be
are
a
very
certain age
familiar
to do it.
And I don't want
I
to get
can
in the
bring
weeds.
you all that.
Yeah.
And it will kind of explain it a little bit, so you'll know what they do have. And again, the police and fire are totally different. And if you want to know about them, we can get that later. But I'll bring you the general employees at the next meeting. I'll put it in the packet so you can read it.
Yeah, so like if one of the employees here wanted to work 44 years in like 3 months, they would walk out of here at that time with 100% of their paycheck. Their multiplier would have reached 100%. But it'll take 44 years and a couple of months to do that.
And what we get at our meetings too, we actually get reports that show what every retiree is receiving. It actually, because we approve the payouts. And you'll see the people who've already retired and what they're getting. And you'll see, if you know who they are, some of them you will know, because they're recent. Some of our long-time employees have been retired for a long time, and they're still getting. I mean, they get it forever until they're they die. But I can bring you maybe even a page of that just to kind of give you an example.
Well, we could send you all what the pension that was signed, the general employee pension which was signed in, I don't know what year, I have it here.
Well, the best way to do it is to look in the audit. In the audit, there are wonderful pages that explain it all, and I'll just pull those pages out and give it to you, so you can read it.
So we're going to just table this till the first meeting in January?
If you skip your December meeting, yeah.
Yeah, that's the big F.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion to table this?
Ms. Blue, do we need a motion to table it, or can we just?
This was just a discussion with possible action, so we can just bring it back to the next meeting.
Okay. All right. Aye. Discussion with possible action canceling the December 17th council meeting. I know in the past we've always done this, where we don't only have just this meeting until come back in January. So what would y'all like to do? All right, we got one for cancel. Sure. Turn your microphone.
I make a motion to approve canceling the December 17th meeting.
All right. Got a motion. Do I have a second? All right. First, got a second. Any discussion? No. Okay, that's going to happen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm even going to ask one of those. All right. J, discussion with possible action. American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Council 779, AFL-CIO, allocation of wage disparity for employees covered by union collective bargaining unit. City Manager Terry provides.
Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak here tonight on this issue. So, when they get, we get a request to come and speak to the union, I call it CBA, Collective Bargaining Agreement, for lack of, I don't remember the acronym for the other, I apologize for that. But when they request a meeting, we oblige them to go meet with them. And basically, at this particular meeting, which happened, I believe, I'm not sure if November or October, but there were some requests for certain things to discuss, during this 2023-2026, approved upon by both the union and the city council contract. Of course, that contract states a lot of things, but the one thing that it does, I like to meet with the union and talk to them. I have no problem with it. But the couple of things that to keep in mind that the only thing that we have to meet them under based on the contract is between January and April the 1st, they need to provide me with what they want as their anticipated raises for next year. And I think at any time during that, based on the contract, the way I read it, if they have a question about wages at all, I think they can make an appointment and we'd have to meet them and have to discuss with them those issues in a fair way and talk to them about it. So there were multiple things that the union came to me that they wanted, which I emailed y'all tonight. I don't know if you read it tonight, my response back. There were a couple of good things that came out of it, things that, I think are in the budget that I'm going to do, which is, jackets for the employees so they're readily identifiable. As city employees, a year or two ago, we had somebody put on a ring camera, walk through a backyard. It was one of our employees reading meters. He was then, started circulating around as somebody trespassing. It was just a bad thing, so we're now have jackets ordered, fitted, ordered. Relatively inexpensive, $29, $39 a jacket, a couple of $20, $30 more to have Williston put on the back of it. So there'll be no doubt that, you know, who these employees are when they're walking around reading outside. The other thing that I agreed to, so long as, I was city manager, you know, unless y'all completely disagree with me and cut me this early, would be that we provide them with food. Currently, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we give the police officers food money or something. Nope, we're wrong there. But he's thinking about doing it now because we've talked about it. We think it's a great idea. But doing their boots, as Mr. Coxon and most of y'all already know, you see these guys down in ditches and stuff. And what it became apparent to me was during the hurricane, you know, there were just wet boots laying around everywhere in all degrees of shapes and stuff. And some stuff is just unserviceable. So, you know, we're going to come up with like $150 a year per employee to basically give them a stipend to purchase boots, which I think is a great idea, which is something that's not going to be negotiated in contract. It's something that could be completely ended by the new city manager, or you know, if y'all told me tonight, hey, we think it's a bad idea, don't do it. I don't think that's the case, but so those are a couple things that come out of that meeting. The one big thing that did come out of that meeting was the question of wages. Once again, I think based on my reading of the contract, anytime they want to discuss wages or disparity in wages, then basically we owe them a meeting and we discuss with them and see if there's something we can do to work it out. As you know, last year, I kind of felt that there was a possibility that certain city employees that are included in the collective bargaining agreement, specifically the dispatchers at the PD and the chief, and I've already spoke about this, basically, you know, are covered under the union. They're covered under the collective bargaining agreement, and apparently they got a 3.5% pay raise, and the other city employees got a 3%. I'm currently looking over the video. We finally found it when the discussion occurs, and I know that there's several of you, Ms. Jones, Ms. Martin, Hines, Cox, you know, all at least said at that point on the video where I'm at that they were okay with the police officers getting whatever they get, but the civilian employees over there, you know, should get the 3%. But I haven't finished looking at this, so I don't know. We got a couple of options here. If they did, we did approve them a 3.5% pay raise. They have the right to question that pay raise. There's a couple options we can do if the union insist on pushing the agenda on it. The first option, which, you know, is probably not the best option, but I brought it up first, is that we could, you know, put the communications officers back down to 3.3%. Of course, that was not a very popular option, so that didn't get very far. The other is, you know, if we do find out this was agreed upon to give them the 3.5% somewhere further along in this lengthy 2-hour budget hearing, basically, you know, we can't be forced to do anything unless they file an unfair labor practice, which they will. I'll tell you that. They filed one over our interpretation of what the new state law said, and their interpretation of what the new law said. And basically, our two attorneys worked it out. The agreement was that, you know, we would pay our labor attorney, they would pay their labor attorney, and we would all come back to the table and act like I don't want to say probably I was the only one who was acting like it. So, but basically, and work out these problems and move forward. There could have been a possibility that if we would have gone to PERC, which is the Public Employee Relations Committee. Is it a committee? Yeah. You know, then basically, you know, there would have been a ruling, and it's like a lawsuit. It's like any other thing. And whatever their judges ruled, basically, we found at fault. We were found at fault. Unless we build it to a higher level court, you know, we would have to pay at that time. If we lost, we'd pay our attorney and pay their attorney. Some of those figures become staggering.
I remember the budget meeting, and we at length, because Chief was the first one up, raising their salary to match comparable salaries in the area to attract good police officers. So what you're saying is that the raise of the police officer salary
Communications officer,
just just
not the police officer.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, the communication officer.
So the communication officers were not linked into the conversation about raising the officer salary, or you're saying there's what somehow, and that's where
Well, I know he kept them separate because one of the police officers was a communications officer. I think the issue is that the communication officers, the four that you have, not your supervisor, the four that he has are covered under the collective bargaining agreement of the union in which we have a contract from 23 to 26 on.
Which union? Not the police, but the regular employees?
Yeah.
See, I thought that they were included with the police department.
No, they are not.
So the police department and the fire department would fall under their own unions that are specialized to their specifics.
The police department did have a union. They voted it out.
Union pension plan.
Yeah.
They fall under their own pension.
They fall under their own pension, but they don't fall under this union.
Yeah. So the police officers voted out their union. I don't know if the fire department ever had it or not.
No.
Chief Siegel?
No.
I will tell you that both the fire department and the police department are covered under the Firefighter and Police Officers Bill of Rights. They really don't need a union. State statute.
I'm sorry for being so confused. So to clarify, the issue tonight, in this moment, is that the communications officers want to have the same pay raise as EJ.
No, they got it. They
got
got
more.
3.5%.
And the
They
general
receive-
employees are telling us that they are going to like that.
They want to go up to 3.5 as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the
Alright.
general employees that are sitting out there aren't supervisors like Alex and Amos and
Dallas.
who?
You have Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, so the ones out here that are not in supervision, they got a 3% pay raise. So there's a disparity that was created when we did the 3.5% and when we did for the communications officers. But when we gave them a 3%, that created a disparity in which the bargaining unit has the right to intercede and demand that we correct it. And if we don't do that, we don't correct it somehow, they have the right to file a complaint with PERC with an unfair labor practice. And if they do that and we fight them and we lose, then basically we will have to pay our attorney's fees, their attorney's fees, anything involved in the lawsuit, deposition fees. I mean, it could be, easily $50,000. You're not careful. So that's the problem. The problem is that I'm still going through my due diligence to find out what y'all said. I can tell you that there was at one point on the board that basically y'all all agreed to the communication officer receiving exactly what the other employees got. However, the 3%. However, I had to stop and come here. So I don't know what the rest said.
It may have inadvertently been done because people that do our payroll may not realize it.
I think the 3.5 was for the police officers, not for the
You
communication
did say
officers.
that.
I agree. I said that too. That was my recall when I was
So-
asked about it today. And Meredith just said the same thing.
Yeah.
So
So
the way to
that's our
fix that is to
It was inadvertently
go
given
back
to
to
them.
what we originally did.
So
which
if
was
we
3%.
go back and I finish my review of the video, we try to figure out, because there's been some conversation between Brooke and Steven.
Correct.
Go ahead with your part. You got it.
I have to pull it up. So part of the conversation that it was brought up with myself, Chief Rolls, the mayor, and City Manager Brevard on some questions when we were signing the personal action forms, the PAFs, for the increases. And there is the budget that was approved, that the council approved, does reflect that dispatchers are at a 3.5% increase, along with the police officers. So that was something that Stephen and I went back and forth with an email, and that's what we interpreted and what was approved. So that's where we're going back and reviewing the videos.
It could have. So if any of y'all have got spare time on your hands and you're not doing nothing, you can look at the video from 7, 9, and 24. And like I said, it's around the 7, 9 of 24, and around the 107 mark. Ms. Jones starts talking about the 3% for all the civilians, including the police department. 11 to 32, Mr. Cox discusses it. Or 132, I'm sorry. 130, 137, somewhere around there. Ms. Hines talks about 143. Dispatchers getting 3%, police officers getting 3.75. And then Ms. Martin said, yes, I agree to that. And then that's where I had to stop.
And I believe that there was maybe some confusion with who was considered the civilians when we talked about communications, police officers, administration, as far as like Arizona's position, Rev, and the cleaning, Jamie, because you have such a dynamic of employees of what would be covered under the union and what is not. So that was something that we remembered that we had the conversations about.
And once we get past the original budget, we don't go back and look at it. So, right. Well, we whatever you give us, we assume the changes were made. So if the budget was passed with the 3.5 in it, and we said we wanted it to be 3, we wouldn't have really known that.
No, unless you caught it.
Unless you caught it, but I don't think it's something intentional that was. There's got, and again, I mean, we'll review the video to be able to understand a little bit better from then, because obviously there's been a lot of meetings and conversations since then.
And I did a little math here, and if I'm wrong, correct me. At $20 an hour, we're talking about
Stephen, are you still online?
5 cents. We're arguing as a group over 5 cents an hour on $20 an hour. I'm done.
So
hang on. So go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll let you.
No, yes.
Okay, sorry.
We're not arguing about.
We have somebody online.
Hang on. I'm sorry, Amos. Stephen, do you have the numbers that we discussed earlier?
I mean, I have them.
You do too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steven's not there. I mean, I'm sure he can go over them. We're talking about if we had to, what I did, I had Stephen go over some numbers that basically if we did give them 3.5 and we knew we gave them 3.5 and we had to go back and make the other city employees whole, it would be about $9,144.21. That would include the portion that's in the rears of $1,524.04, and I'll send this to y'all.
Yeah, we're talking about this an hour here.
And yeah, I believe, and then the balance would be $7,620.18.14. So it's about $9,100 impact on the budget if we brought them all up to
5% or 3.5?
3.5.
I know.
Ms. Jones, no man nor woman work for free. Whether it's 5 cents, 2 cents, the man work for it, he deserves it.
Yes, sir, I didn't say free.
Well, I just said 5 cents. You said we're arguing about 5 cents. 5 cents can be a bill that's paid. So don't take granted 5 cents. 5 cents can change another man's life or feed his family. I mean, 5 cents.
I just consider us a family, and we're arguing over 5 cents an hour. I just am really not.
If we were a family, I don't think it would have got this far because a family member would have seen the mistakes. And,
Yeah, so this is the first time we've heard it, so I don't know how far.
Yeah, I mean, Amos, their defense, this topic just came up in really in November, and basically, I haven't talked to them about it because they're still trying to figure it out. So this is the first time they're hearing it. The union brought it up. When was our meeting?
11:25, right?
What was it?
11:25.
Yeah, 11:25. You know, so we're still processing ourselves on the administrative level of what happened and what went wrong.
And you read me wrong. I say 5 cents is nothing. Give it to them. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're reading me totally wrong. I'm sorry that you got that impression, but to me, 5 cents an hour is nothing to argue about.
Yes, ma'am.
To me,
like
it's
when
just
when you hear council members say stuff like overtime is a privilege, when people are coming in at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning waiting for them.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
I'm just saying, in the heat of the night, it's like we're nothing, you know. But there are linemen out here that has just a dangerous job as no discredit to your officer, but just a dangerous job as this officer.
I agree 100%.
And that's all I'm saying. Overtime is not a privilege. It's our duty, and we serve the city of Williston with honor, and we tender our duty. So it is not a privilege, and it's 5 cents, which I do thank you for alluding to what you went through. That just give it to them, because 5 cents mean a lot. The hard
It's 5 cents is not worth arguing about. Is what I'm
yes,
trying to say.
And what I said when I said privilege, I also stated that I'm not sure how overtime is being done, whether they're coming in for work that has to be done outside of their job. So I did say that. And when I say privilege, that meaning that there are some circumstances that overtime, may not be. You may not come in for overtime, but because depending on the job, I guess is basically what I'm saying. Because you need some help, but everybody's not going to go and help, depending on what your job title is in the city, So maybe and then maybe privilege wasn't the correct word to use, but that still being said, I don't believe that we should be paying 10% on overtime. So basically, what I'm saying. So that hasn't changed.
As city workers, it's our duty, and we take pride in our duty. I worked in right away for over 20 years on the electric side. City Board Electric, 13 years. These arguments or these discussions really went on, so it's kind of weird to me on all this stuff transpiring. But when I hear stuff like privilege, I apologize. I misspoke on you, but 5 cents. But these are men's lives. They put their lives at risk here. It's not a privilege, but your life is written. It's a duty.
Well, how you get your overtime may be different than how somebody else gets their
I just like
overtime.
the verbiage.
So you can't say that.
Well, I can't speak on the water crew or the sewer crew. I want to speak on the electric side.
Right.
And how we get our
Right.
overtime is
Exactly. So I said as a city. I didn't say specific department.
You said privilege.
It's still same thing. I did not say I
Okay.
did not say a specific department either.
Okay, what we'll do
It is a
is we
privilege.
will call to order. What we'll do is Terry's going to finish through that, and then we'll do it, and we'll do everything that we need to do.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. So like I said, there's a couple things I still have to do. I wanted to bring this up as soon as possible because it is an issue brought up by the union. I will say that, and I'll get this part done and I'll explain to you why now it's only coming up, because it's a question that I asked at the last meeting with them is, that I involved them in the budget process. I wanted them here. I specifically asked them to be on the agenda that night. We did talk to them. Alex did speak as the union president, so the CBA, and then, but as you explained to me, is that it's really not a problem that they can address until it occurs, and I get that. I understand that now. That basically, if there's a grievance, if we do something, until that has occurred and the employee complains, that's when they have the purview to speak up and do something, which is exactly what they've done here. So, they don't have to bring it up at the beginning. They can let the whole thing slide, and then when we do what we do, they can have a meeting with us, say what you do with the problem. And we'll finish doing the investigation and see where we're at. I don't think this is going to change anything,
Put that on your list.
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah, it is. That's why I wanted to bring it up tonight and talk to y'all about it. And trust me, we've been looking at videos all day. So along with some other stuff, but we're trying to get there. But we'll come back to you with it. Just keeping in mind it's there. There is a budget impact.
Still out.
Not much more.
Sir?
Still out for December 17th meeting and the correct to
Yeah, I don't think we're doing it. So yeah, I think it's going to be January the 1st.
Don't think
but
you're going anywhere in January.
no, and I think, and I don't want to speak for the union, but I think that they understand that we are working on it. We're trying to do something, that there's no unfair labor practice. I mean, it's just that, look, this has been brought up. It's an issue. We're talking about it. We're doing stuff. Basically, as long as we're continuing to move forward to solve a problem until we stop continuing to move forward to solve the problem. And then once that occurs, their only option is to go to PERM. That's it. So, and file a lawsuit against the mayor and chief.
Okay. All right. All right. So put this to bed till next month?
Yeah.
All right. Item 9, public participation. This is your second opportunity to address the council. At this time, anyone in the audience can come to the podium and speak for 5 minutes on any topic other than what was on the agenda. Be happy takers.
December 9th.
We're not into.
You ain't public.
Thank you. That was good though. Okay, item 10, announcements. Staff.
Now it's your turn.
December 19th, Santa Claus is coming to town.
The fire department is hauling him around town. The police department is escorting us.
Is that a Saturday?
Thursday.
It's a Thursday. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Council President. HR Director has.
Yes. 6. No. Dark. I think that we said like 5:30 as soon as Santa gets here.
Okay, 5:30.
Yes, ma'am. Also, the 23rd, which is a Monday
December.
of December, we will be having our City of Williston Christmas luncheon that you all are invited to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The 23rd, the Monday.
At noon.
Here at, you can come too. Oh, it's here at City.
12 o'clock?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, I have several announcements.
Yes, ma'am.
The first one, in everybody's bag that I had on the dais, there is a final budget in there. You need to replace that. We'll put it in your book.
Total replacement.
Yes, total replacement. This is the final approved budget. Also, you have a card from all of the staff here wishing everybody happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Third thing, if Councilmember Riccio and Martin on the first meeting in January could wear their blue long sleeve shirts so we can get a picture so everybody be in uniform. That way I can post the new pictures. I'm getting there. The fourth thing, qualifying. Qualifying starts January the 20th at noon through January 24th at noon.
January 20th?
Yes. Even though that is a holiday, I would be here to take applications if needed.
Till the 24th.
Yes. Yes, that's MLK Day. The counselors that are up for re-election is Council President Cox, Vice President Hines, and Council Member Riccio.
Didn't I like to do this?
I think you got 2 years.
I think it's the other way around. I think it's Meredith.
No, who took over Jerry's? You took over Jerry's? I'm sorry, I thought,
But only for a year.
yes. Okay, I do apologize. Okay, so that's Councilmember Martin. And again, as Terry said, number 5, there are 2 gray chairs up here at the dais. Before you leave, could you please sit in both of the chairs and let me know which one you would prefer for me to purchase, since the chairs that we have like to sink to the floor so everybody can be comfortable and have a decent chair to sit in.
Yeah, and we'll rotate them out. So see everybody sitting on the floor back there? So we'll take these chairs, move them all back there, and then basically put the new chairs up here. I personally, for my little 2 cents, I would like all of them to be the same. This chair is not bad, but that is a much nicer chair.
It is rather comfortable.
It is comfortable. So,
The 7th. And that's all I have.
Ma'am, do you have something?
I do. I have a couple announcements. The first one is I have openings on all of the boards that I'm running right now, the Community Redevelopment Agency, the Code Enforcement Board, and Planning and Zoning. I do have applications. I'm putting them into a folder so you guys can choose who you think would be the best to appoint. But I'm closing those applications December 15th, so I have time to get it onto the January 7th agenda. I also have December 21st at Green Gates in Ocala. They're having a holiday party, and they invited us to come with some of our dogs and cats. So please join us. There's no obligation, but it'll be a lot of fun. That'll be from 5 to 9:30. January 21st, we're going to have a ribbon cutting at 4 o'clock for the parking lot at Block 12, which is across the street. That'll be in Fireman's Park. It'll be catered. That's before a council meeting.
What date again? I'm sorry.
That's January 21st at 4 p.m. So it'll be before a council meeting, so you can come and have some snacks before you have to have another meeting in January. Over there.
And it's ribbon cutting for
the parking lot. Yay.
So it would be nice if we could get as many of the council people there.
That would be perfect. That's why we had it on a Tuesday, so that we knew that everybody would be in town for the council meeting.
And
that's all.
Our turn.
December 18th, the long-awaited ethics training. If you have not already RSVP'd, technically the deadline has passed, but I know people, I can pull some strings for you. So if you have not RSVP'd, please do so. It'll be a lot of fun, food, drinks. So it is from 4 to 8 p.m. It satisfies your 4 hours ethics training, free food.
And you have the Williston room all labeled for us?
Yes, I'll make sure that I have you all's names on a list. We'll have a bouncer at the door to only allow you in.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else? Any announcement? Going once. Twice. All right. Well, item 11. Adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that this meeting is adjourned.
All right. We got a
second.
Got a first? Got a second? All right. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Time is now 8:24 p.m.